I'm just being myself, cool as can be. When I'm being myself, you wish you were me.
It's so easy. Get out your own way.
Easy peasy, breezy, done. What's the point if it ain't no fun? I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm not living for them, I'm living for me.
It's so easy. It's so easy now. Get out your own way. It's so easy
When you break free, it's just so easy. I'm just being myself, I don't change a thing. When I'm being myself, then I win the game.
It's so easy. It's so easy now. Get out your own way. It's so easy
When you break free, it's just so easy.
No.
Good. Oh. Technical difficulties. Technical difficulties every time. Every single time. There we go. There we go. Oh, good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 62 of The Treat Show. It would not be the same if it didn't fuck up or if I was on time, ever. I feel like, running late a day, plus late on top of it. Great shame. But to everybody in the chat, how excited am I to see you? Thank you so much for hanging in there. You know, it's a roll of the dice every time. Anyways, they keep telling me that you got to keep it consistent. And I really believe that. So, thank you guys. Let's see. We have a beautiful chat of my favorite people, and I have missed you for the last 2 weeks. So, Michelle, thank you so much for joining us and for trooping through my time adjustments, my day changes, everything, and always showing up. Joffrey, I cannot thank you enough as well. I don't know what I'd do without you guys. Tark, you are fam. All of you guys, the elbow cough, I love it. Dirty the Grower, it's good to see you. Rory, Stutter, what would I do without you? You're the person that gives me encouragement. When I see your name come up in the chat, first things first, I'm like, there is hope. We are here today. So thank you, Stutter, and thank you, Tark, and thank you, Joffrey and Michelle. Love for the Plant, Kim Painter. You guys are what I'm keeping on for. Anyways, today is going to be a very special episode because I have Jason from Dark Horse. Finally. It's been pretty hard to get this guy in here. I don't know what it is, but it's been a little tricky. So, we're going to talk about our trip out of the country and dabble on the weed that we did consume out of the country. I think it's more like the medium they grow the weed in is... We'll get into it when the time is right. You guys let me know if you have been traveling out there. And these are the times that I really appreciate what we call mids or shitty weed in Colorado. These are the times that I'm like, you know what, that's like primo. Anyways, before we dive into all that, let's get Jason on here from Dark Horse. Hold on. Bum.
Why, hello.
Oh, good evening.
Hello, everyone. I don't know what I'm doing tonight, but let's do it.
I mean, I didn't really give him a heads up.
Let's just say, first of all, happy 7/10 Eve.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's a big day.
Shit, I forgot.
Yeah, it's 7/10 Eve for those out there.
We should go get the dab rig.
So, yeah, get your hash ready. And also, for everyone watching, it's J-Lo's birthday week, official week. This is J-Lo's birthday show. Birthday's on like Friday, I believe, but you're
Thursday.
7/11, baby. Yeah, Thursday.
7-Eleven. Not quite 7-10.
Free Slurpee Day.
That's about all they give you.
J-Lo Day.
They're like, here you go.
Everybody out there, say happy birthday to J-Lo in the comments, please, because it's J-Lo's birthday. And isn't she looking fucking fantastic?
It's really nice. Thank you. I feel like he's only saying that because he knows I'm depressed. These birthdays get hard. Anyways, I feel that was really nice of you. I think we had big plans for 7-10 this year, actually. And I still think we have big plans, but
No.
Not really.
All the plans were shattered.
Okay, yeah. Let's.
All plans shattered.
I just want to touch on this because there's not many people that would be real about this, and you don't have to talk about anything you don't want
I
to.
don't give a fuck. We'll talk about whatever you want.
That's what I like to hear. Okay, thank you. Is because everybody knows we got the dispensary and the grow. Super fucking exciting. But what they don't know is we anticipated this happening months ago and not before we had a vacation planned from like 6 months ago. My family is really convenient with timing. And I feel like it all just kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, we had probably started planning, like trying to open the store right around like April. Like in
420.
April, yeah, in April was when we started thinking, okay, maybe we can do it mid-June, maybe we can do it July. I was like, let's aim for a 7-10 grand opening was what I was thinking.
Yeah,
And I was
big
like, let's see
barbecue.
if we can get all this done in time. And of course we couldn't because this, I mean, no fault of us trying, I would say. It's more the city and all the fuckery that comes with all the shit that it takes to transfer these licenses and get going and just get started with it. But yeah, we still don't have a sign and shit. Like, I'm not going to do a grand opening until we have a sign on the building. Like, there's a few things that need to take place before we can do that. So we missed our 7-10 window. Like, there's not a lot happening there. But
We're open.
yeah, we're definitely open. But yeah, that's what I say. I would call it incredibly soft opening, like real soft.
Real soft.
We don't. Nothing is like how it's going to be. So it's open, but it's not. It's just the shell of what I envision it to be eventually. You know what I mean?
I think that's like super frustrating, but also at the same time really exciting for both people. Like, I think to see what it really takes in like going through these transitions, obviously, just like you said, we didn't really plan for these things.
I mean, we didn't really even close on the sale. I think technically today is the day that the city actually sent me closing stuff.
Damn.
But the state closed with us on the 15th of June, I think. So it was only like 2 weeks ago or 2 or 3 weeks ago that really
Pretty fresh.
that it kind of like closed on that. And then when kind of to your point, we had planned this family vacation with your amazing family, but they were like, we want to take you out to our happy place. And I was like, I'm down to go. Let's go to a beach. Take me to fucking somewhere sweet. But in my mind, we would have had the store open for like 2 months.
Feeling comfortable.
When they're like, we want to do it over July 4th weekend or a holiday or what, I was like, I'm like, that's kind of tight with what I was trying to do, but I was like, fuck it, let's go. And of course, we closed on like the 15th, and then we worked our complete asses off.
Like all the way off.
Yeah, literally. I mean,
I don't think we
shout
slept.
out to Callahan Electric and Mama J-Lo is, part of Callahan Electric, but still Mama J-Lo, Callahan Electric, Skylar, but all those guys came down. Your whole family basically came down.
whole fam.
And we had about 1 week to like, what do we want to do before we leave town for a week? Because we have the keys now.
And we had like a bucket list. I mean, like a plethora of shit we
Ton of
wanted
lists.
to do. Yeah.
I talked about it briefly on Dark Horse, but we threw away like 5 dumpster fulls, like almost 20 tons of trash just the first like 5 days. And then we're like, all right, well, let's try to get this building painted. So like I would say it took us about a week straight of just marathon work in what turned out to be 100-degree heat. And everyone like slammed to get the place just soft open, like we said, like just get it open soft. And then we were going to take off. And yeah, I would say the timing was just about the worst timing that it could have been. But in a weird way, it's Murphy's Law. And I like knew that. I was like, all right, watch, we're going to get this store a week before I'm supposed to go out of town on a vacation that was planned 6 months, 8 months ago, whatever,
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly how it happened, is Murphy's Law there. But long story short, the vacation was sick. We worked our asses off before to get it open. It's
We
what I would-
stayed up all night long before we even got on the flight.
Mm-hmm.
We were like going, you guys, really, we were going so hard. The coolest part before we move past this is I did go to the grocery store today, and the grocery store just so happens to be pretty close to where our location is. And they were like, everybody's coming in and talking about you guys because of how fast they seen this change. They seen our sign, even though it's small. We're waiting. Okay. And they said that. They said that. They said that your sign is hard to see, but they seen it.
It's a banner. It's not a sign.
That's what I told them. I was like, listen,
Wait till it glows
take
in the
it
night.
easy. We're starting with that Bruce Banner strong. But
But no, yeah, I mean, we did a ton of work just to kind
that's
of
what they,
get to a place where I was like, all right, let's get it open, soft open. let's wait on our sign. Let's wait on my super special video wall that I'm pumped about, and like
That's super cool.
all the things I envisioned to do. We haven't even got to it yet. We haven't
Mm-hmm.
even set foot in the grow other than to clean shit up. Like not
Take
even-
out trash, really.
Yeah, not even clean. Just
Yeah.
take out trash.
There's so much trash.
So yeah, it's still completely fresh. I would say to both of us. Like
Yeah.
we were gone for a week.
It was hard.
Yeah,
This is the hardest week
we've
ever.
Maybe had 7 days to mess around with that building, try to figure out how to turn stuff on, how
Yeah.
it works, what we're gonna fix, what walls we're gonna tear down, how we're gonna change it. But yeah, it was. I mean, no one's gonna cry for us that like, oh boo hoo, you're starting your new dispensary and you had to go on tropical vacation right at the same time. Like, no, life is good, life is awesome,
Yeah.
and like you say, you know, you're tan for your birthday week. You should be happy.
I'm pretty happy. I think the thing is when I heard that people were noticing this paint job is big. I don't think people understand that. I'm not a big fan of painting. You know, to go through and like paint a living room or a bedroom, you're like, damn it. But this is a pretty large. I mean, it's like 20,000 square foot more of an outside perimeter, and we had like 3 days of painting it. Well, priming it, painting it, all the things. And when I finally actually heard that people were like, wow, it looks beautiful, and you guys worked your little asses off too, I was like, you know what? These are the moments that it's worth it.
If they think it looks beautiful now, I think
That's
it looks
how I
like
was thinking.
like a pig with lipstick on it right now. Like wait till we
yeah.
actually do what I want to do with it, what we want to do with it.
So good.
And I think it'll be hopefully a shining beacon of Denver, Colorado for pot and what is quickly becoming a cesspool of mids.
I think that is something that's exciting to me as a consumer and a grower. Is I remember when Rare Dangness was starting their thing, though, it was actually exciting for Colorado. I mean, just that like that little brief moment, you know, of a brand new facility, something being bougie, done well, and I feel excited like that for the first time since that.
I think people appreciate, maybe I'm wildly wrong about this and we'll learn a lesson, but I think people appreciate when the shop is actually owned by like a breeder or a grower or a lifelong like weed man.
Yeah.
Somebody like Scott.
Lady.
Or like weed lady, sorry, excuse me. But somebody like Scott or even Fletcher out in Oregon
Yeah.
or Portland or wherever, you know, he's like
true.
Fletcher owns that grow and like or that store and grow. And I was like, Scott owns that store and grow. And it's like they don't necessarily have to be breeders, but in my mind it's like it's not the typical like I'm an investment banker, I'm a real estate person, or I'm a hedge fund guy. Like it's gotten very, very corporate. So to see actual lifelong weed people like owning the whole thing, like
Massive.
it's pretty rare. But those are the ones that I do get excited about. So when like Scott's opening Rare Dank or whatever, I'm like, oh, we got to go over and check out what Scott built. Knowing also that he spent a fortune, I'm like, we got to go check out this out. It's gonna be a Cadillac, you know, and then.
Yeah.
Like knowing that Fletcher holds down Portland and shit. If you ever go out there, you have to go check that shop out. And
Sure.
I mean, there's multiple examples other than these two. But
DNA. I feel like DNA made a good loud staple. I've never been to their store. I don't honestly. I can't speak on their weed, but I remember. I mean, even for Cali, it was a pretty loud.
yeah, I mean that's kind of what I'm talking about. Is like
Yeah.
I like to see what happens in those environments. Even like I'll even give it to Be Real.
Yeah,
you know
for
what
sure.
I mean? With like his
For
shop
sure.
out there or whatever. It's like that's a weed man through and
Fuck
through.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like let's see what he can do with it. Just I'm not even necessarily talking shit like the Chad zone, all the rest of the shit. So not necessarily. It's just in my dealings with cannabis over the last 18 years in like the legal realm, I've met a lot of people that I'm like, it's kind of if people only knew who they were supporting. I'm not even going to name names, but it's like
It's
if people
true.
only knew who they were supporting and what like who actually owns this. I would say fucking 60% of them don't even smoke pot. It's like
and-
hard to get them to smoke pot with you. Like I should say like 75% of them
I
don't
would
even
say
smoke
it's a
pot.
lot.
So it's
They
like,
all love Coke though. It's
they
weird.
do love Coke. There's no Coke dispensaries, but it's one of these things where it's like
Sad.
I don't know, the people that actually have the bottom or the top of that fucking whatever like ownership level or whatever is always
Yeah.
somebody that you might be surprised by. Sometimes they're fucking cops. Sometimes they're like
Yeah, DEA agents. Like
I'm telling you,
shit
like-
that you didn't think.
people would kind of have their mind blown in certain instances. And other times, I'm not going to say there's none. Other times there's like families. You'll see
Yeah.
like a family
Yeah.
run operation and it's like, holy shit, those are the ones I like to support too, as opposed to not necessarily like I say, the biggest chains, somebody even like 710, who's like, I like them, but they started to become like a massive company.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like, as long as you do it right and like put out a high quality product and whatnot, it's like, yeah, I'll absolutely support that all the way because we're getting into a place where like you say, you go into the typical dispensary, and most of the product, top to bottom, is like mids for life in there, and made with bullshit, and the carts are just distillate with fake terps in them, and it's
Well,
like this is nonsense. What I would consider nonsense when I walk into like a weed shop. I don't want that shit as
And-
opposed to somebody who knows how to grow good weed.
The misleading, like with what you're saying though, is like the misleading of strains and genetics. As a breeder and as a grower, you're never going to, honestly, even if you had a shitty batch of something or like a finicky strain or something that didn't aesthetically look great, you could be like, this is Durban Poison, it's not my favorite round, or Skittles or whatever, but I think you'll enjoy it because of this, this, and this. Versus the stores and companies that I think you're mentioning, they'll even like lie about the strains where you'll be,
It's very common, but I don't even know that they would. It sounds bad, but I'm not even sure they would know that they're bait and switching like that.
That's a good
They're
point.
like, they come from a world of business where it's like, hey, if you add strawberry delight at the end, it'll sell way better. So let's just fucking do that, or kind of thing. So
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
one of those things where don't hate the player, hate the game. But unfortunately, the game is full of fucking moron players.
Yeah.
So it's like I hate them both, but it's cool because
We're not those
we control
people.
our own destiny. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there's somebody out there that would say I'm the fucking reason weed sucks too. I'm just saying, but at the same time, I just look at the thing where the whole industry or the whole journey is like, I've never really paid too much attention to what anyone else fucking does. I really don't care what anyone else fucking does. Like, within reason. Like I'm
yeah, that's
I'm
true.
in the room. I'm paying attention, I suppose, but at the same time, just like, I don't care what you sell for. I don't care what your prices are. I don't care what you do to your product, how your packaging looks. Like, I've never mimicked anything.
Yes.
I've just done what I thought was the proper way to sell products and whatnot, and it's treated me well thus far. That's why I think we've made it almost 20 years or whatever. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. I don't follow anyone's footsteps, and I'm not chasing volume, and I don't care about like, oh, I got to have massive margins on certain shit, or margins can be tiny as long as we do mad volume. It's like, no, high quality product, fair price. We make a little, you get a decent deal.
Real value, like the real meaning to value. I think that when you're actually not compare, like you said, you got to stay relevant. You got to stay like knowing you have competition to keep you on your toes, I think. But at the same time, competition can mean so many different things. And
What we talk about, I mean, I'm not sure how publicly I've talked about, but we never necessarily desired a dispensary. I guess I'm speaking for myself. Maybe you have. I know you've kind of had some desires to do a retail, but like, I did a retail a couple times back in the past, and like, it was a good experience for me. But I didn't like desire retail. When I was doing retail, I'm like, I just want to do wholesale operations
Wow.
and sell like hundreds of pounds as opposed to selling grams and eighths and pre-rolls and all this and dealing with the retail side. It's like, it's a lot easier, particularly with 280E and taxes and true profitability.
Definitely.
And the way that I looked at the business and dissected it, I'm like, the true profit's going to be over here in wholesaling flour and growing high quality flour and wholesaling at a high price. Little did I know, I was dramatically, massively wrong about that calculation because the dispensaries ended up setting the prices. So even if you grew high quality flour, so when I talk about we were still getting beaten up on wholesale like crazy left and right, like shops were just saying, this is what I'm paying, deal with it, or
Yeah.
fucking go out of business. And it's like, well, shit, like the game got hard. So rather than kind of just get fucked in wholesale life, because I made that tactical decision that turned out to be a bad one 5-6 years later, it's like, fuck, now we got to get back into retail to control our own destiny, because if we just sit here and get beat up by the shops that underpaying, then fuck it. So I guess this shop was not necessarily like something where it's like, oh, I dream of a shop, I want a shop so bad. No, it was a move of necessity. It was a pivot that had to happen
Yeah.
for Dark Horse to continue to stay in the industry, because in my opinion, staying in a wholesale brand was getting to the point where, like, we'll be frank, like, it cost me upwards of $600 to grow a pound, and they're selling for
Oh my
800 or
gosh.
less than even $600.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, there's no room in here for me to make any money, pay my employees, pay my astronomical rents, all this other shit. So what do we have to do? Let's pivot to a retail so we can get a higher price for our product, control our own destiny, as opposed to getting beaten up.
Well, and when you touch on that, it's really something that I think these other states think that they're prepared for, or that they're going to avoid, or that they know better, they're going to do better, or their packaging is going to be better, their weed's going to be better, whatever. But I think the truth is 14, 15 years later, I can consistently say in this industry, and I know you can as well, is about every 3 to 5 years, excluding California. California's always fucked us between like October to February-ish, tax season really, and it's like pretty consistent my whole life, but I feel like the actual industry itself has done that, where it will go and skyrocket and you'll be selling pounds for a great profit margins, great everything. You'll give your staff like incredible raises, you'll expand all this shit.
It definitely ebbs and flows, like you're saying. It's a roller coaster that goes up and down. But I think
Dramatically though.
something that's responsible for this sort of crash, though, was the pandemic or COVID, if whatever, because it artificially spiked our industry when
Huge.
everybody was forced home, and all of a sudden everybody in this industry makes the mistake of believing that when they're on the top of the roller coaster that they're going to stay up there.
Colorado's biggest fault.
And I actually made the same mistake where we expanded into secondary warehouse, and I was just like, yeah, we're going to do multiple grows and bring it out more because we were selling everything we could at COVID at top price, and I was just like, all right, we need more production. But no one really foresaw that, like, that crash that came afterwards. And then people overshot when things were good in that COVID stretch in the cannabis industry.
Big time.
So they just tried to expand, or they went too far. They took bad loans. Whatever it may be, but it came back to bite them in the ass 2, 3, 4 years later when it's like, we can't make what we did, or now we're overextended and now we're fucked on this and massive layoffs, and you're seeing it, shop closures, and it's like, it's a weird thing, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a little unrelated, but one thing I took away from it too, I guess, as kind of the previous statements I made, is the one thing that if I had to give anyone advice as far as doing wholesale only or retail or being vertically integrated, doing it all, is the store is the one that seems to hold the value. I never really,
Forever.
like, for a while, I never saw it that way. I was like, all right, we'll create an independent business that's a product-infused manufacturing lab. We'll have a grow. We'll be able to manufacture all these products and release them to the market. But I never really predicted that we're going to get to a point when it's like now, basically, when you have a grow or a MIP, we call it a MIP lab, but an infused product manufacturer, when you have one of these little labs that can make products and you have a grow, their valuations are like shit. Like the MIP is probably worth like $50,000. The grow is probably worth like $200,000-$300,000, maybe maybe 100 to 300,000. You know what I mean?
So
like
cheap.
depending on what your grow looks like. But every single dispensary seems to hold its value
Millions.
in the million range, and it's like, why is this store that has nothing attached to it,
And
now
they don't
worth-
have to prove their sales.
now worth millions, but all the production level behind it, all the farmers behind it, their valuations are fucking shit.
Yep.
And it's kind of a crazy thing. So it's like, had I known that early on, I had a time machine and went back, I'd be like, acquire retails because their value will skyrocket and hold, as opposed to like, don't necessarily build an empire of wholesale. So if I could go back, I would literally do what some of these guys did, which is acquire 20 licenses, 30 licenses, sell them off to one of these huge corporations for $300 million and be done, as opposed to, I'm a farmer who's going to grind out and make strains, fucking put my name on the map by doing high quality work. Fuck, you could have just bought licenses and flipped them because the valuation, I mean,
Much.
they're way up there. They're still way up there. I mean, they're crashing now, but they're still way up there.
I think that's such an important point to bring out. But I also think that something strange with the stores that Michelle brought it up one time, that they don't have dispensaries where she lives right now. And so she hasn't been into a store. And it's weird for a couple things. Is I think if you were particularly looking for like a type of tincture or a type of massage oil, or if you really did have something particular that you were going out for, we do have that accessibility and have for a long time, to the point that you don't even think about it. You're like, I want an edible to go out on a hike, or I want, we don't even skip a beat. And there's dispensaries everywhere. I mean, it's to our own demise, but they're all over Colorado. And so I feel when I hear somebody else's space is, sometimes I think we forget that even if you're a connoisseur grower and a connoisseur breeder and all those things, is the economy, to me, almost dictates your consumer as well. It's like during COVID, there was a lot of excess financially going around, and I feel like people had a bigger budget for weed. Now when you see like restaurant workers and I mean just everybody, but these particular jobs really taking hits right now.
Which is crazy because typically the history of cannabis has always been recession proof. If
Yeah.
you recall back to 2008 or 9, when cannabis really kind of blew up here, Colorado was in a recession, and the country's in a recession, but Colorado was hit pretty hard, and all the shops started going under, and a lot of things became available for rent. Warehouse prices got super cheap.
Yep.
And cannabis kind of came in and like blasted that out of the water and kind of saved the economy of Colorado. But in the past, even that's the thing. I don't hate to say it, but I've never experienced a recession in my life because I've always been a weed grower since that's the only way I've ever fucking made money. I don't care. I'll have no problem saying it here. I grew weed to put myself through college.
Yeah.
I grew weed right after high school. All I ever did was fucking grow fucking pot. You know what I mean? So when times got tough, I always had my pot and it always stayed at the same fucking price. So I always made the same amount of money, roughly whatever I was doing for the longest. And then we got into the 2008-9 recession. We started shops and we made good money in the recessions.
Yep.
And then it was like, all right, so weed has always stayed recession proof up until this recession when it's like all of a sudden weed now is being, well, that's a cause of supply and demand and other things, but it's, weed is now a very cheap product. I think we're doing some weird calculation, but it's like it's cheaper to, eat a cheeseburger, like a value meal at McDonald's than it is to like buy an eighth a pot. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
You never thought that. Like a pack of cigarettes
It's more
costs
expensive.
more expensive than an eighth in a lot of places and shit. And it's like, whoa, you never thought that. I know.
Stinks.
I grew up in a pack of cigarettes was like $2.50. Now, in an eighth was always $50.
Always.
Now, somehow we flip-flopped that shit where it's a little bit crazy to me, when you think about how cheap weed has gotten. But it's much more accessible to people, too. There's tiers, so...
Humbling as well, though, is like when you think back on that time, because there's not many people I actually talk to and know that started in 2008, 2009 in Colorado. And when you went through that medical phase was so different than 2014 when Colorado went recreational. Like that was another peak of sales, like where people made just insane money. And I remember like average transactions being $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 like all fucking day long. These stores were pulling literally $1 million in a weekend, and for a year consistently, And
it was short-lived.
Short-lived.
It was crazy when it
was
happened.
fucking wild.
Because Colorado, for those that are confused by that statement, Colorado was literally the first place in the world
And only.
that had recreational marijuana sold in dispensaries that anyone could jump off an airplane and come by, and fuck, half the country, if not world, was like, let's fly to Denver and see what this shit's about.
That's what it
And
was.
We were busy as fuck, from the hotels to the dispensaries to the parks to the everything.
Well, and I look at how bad people were doing things. So this is weird. It's like there's pros and cons. We were talking about this with Kieran the other day. In a strange way, it does go both ways in my opinion. But when that happened is I saw people getting treated really, really poorly at dispensaries with customer service. They were like herding them in by like the dozen, and it was just like, I don't give a fuck what you want. Like, this is what you get. Like, have a good day. This is your total. It's super shitty. And like these people were coming in with a lot of questions. I think like actually coming in with a lot of medical things going on and thinking that these people actually had an education and something behind these products. And really these were...
No, I don't laugh about it because it's actually kind of fucked up. But in the early days of this, even before that recreational was crazy boom like that, but even in the medical days, there was a lot of people that would come to medical cannabis after, seriously, cancer patients, all kinds of patients with serious illness, like terminal illness, all kinds of stuff. And they would come in there, and I'm not going to say that like everybody was like that, but half these shops were run by like teenage dipshits.
For sure.
And it's like they had
so awful.
No fucking business telling anybody what to do with their particular illness.
Oh gosh, no.
Or how to treat it or what to do because they saw a YouTube video about fucking take some Rick Simpson oil or some shit, which had crazy shit in it.
Yes.
Like,
Eagle 20. Eagle 20 was popping off at those times. Nobody will fucking talk about it. And it's like everybody, I think it's funny now because people will be like, you, Jay, you use pesticides. And it's like, listen, dude, like I've been, whatever, we'll go into that. Like,
that's a whole other show.
Yeah, but I feel like when you talk to these people though, it's like I started training people how to use these treatments because of seeing how much misuse was happening with Eagle 20 specifically, with extracts that cancer patients were using, with growers that had no idea that this was something that could possibly hurt anybody. This was not done with like ill intentions. But the second PM came up, everybody was like, "Oh, you got the bird?"
Well, that was kind of, I guess my point to that was there was like a reiteration of that in 2014 when legal cannabis happened.
Yes.
Because like the bud tenders got dumb as fuck again. It's almost like
Weird.
we slowly educated ourselves up to actually know what the fuck we were talking
Yes.
about. And then recreational happened and it was just like, oh, the boom is here, hire every dipshit in the world and stick him on as a bud tender, or every dumb bimbo in the world, stick him in as a bud tender, and they know jack shit about cannabis. So when you'd walk into a store, fuck, it's almost like that still today. When I walk into a store, I hate to be a cynical dick or whatever, but a lot of the times I don't even want to talk to the bud tender because I'm just like, you're going to say something stupid that's going to make me hate you. So let me just get that and leave before, like, God, that sounds arrogant. But at the same time, like, I've just heard so much dumb shit come out of people's mouths.
Or aggressive.
And I
They'll
don't
be like,
correct people. I'm not that kind of person that's like, actually, you've got the genetics wrong there on the jar here. And, I'm just like, I'm not going to say shit. I just know. I take all that in when I'm looking at a shop and I'm like, this place is legit. Or I'm like, this place is full of a bunch of fucking yokel fucking idiots. You know what I mean? Like,
Have you ever had a bud tender like actually make you not want to buy the weed? Like I'm saying, like when they'll almost argue with you, you'll be like, "I want this
Yeah.
strain," and they'll be like, "No, you don't."
anybody pushy that's like, oh, you got to try this, it scares me off because I'm like, was there a board meeting, or not a board meeting, but like a manager fucking dispensary bud tender meeting this morning that was like, must push the old shitty carts in the back, like everybody
Are
push,
you waiting
push,
in eighth
push.
for this sale?
And I'm like, why are you so pushy? Why are you so pushy on this? I'm like, I just came in to grab this fucking whatever, this cart over here because I like this brand. And you're like, oh, but you got to try this one. It's fucking $12. I'm like, I don't got to try that.
No.
And then they're like, oh, but it's so much better. Trust. And then I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
I think
Only pushiness is the thing that scares me off. If someone is like, I don't want to say hesitant, but like doesn't know a lot about it, I'm kind of more intrigued too. Like I'll see a strain like for example, Rick James or something I just saw the other day. I don't know what the fuck that is. I've heard it many times or whatever. And I asked the bud tender, I'm like, what's Rick James? And there's like, I'm not sure the lineage on that one, but and I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna try it.
living on the edge.
I'll try that because it's like a mystery as opposed to somebody who's gonna, I don't know, fucking try to be like, oh, this is the greatest strain for relaxation, sleep, or insomnia, or this. I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, every person's body chemistry is different. You can't sit here and tell me what it's gonna do to my body. And I buy on terpenes, not on your, bullshit. It's like, don't listen to the bud tender's bullshit. Use your nose. Just use your nose. Are the terpenes fresh? Is it good fucking product? Like, does it smell fresh and new? Otherwise, it might have been sitting there for 2-3 years.
I think that's a good rule. I like the way you think. I feel as though if people actually knew what happened to their weed along the way, I don't know if they'd care or not. Like, it seems like sometimes they don't care because if it's just cheap, it like works for everybody. But I'm like, if you really saw it getting like dragged across the floor or like some, I don't know, just the weird shit. There's like companies that 710, for instance, they would do wholesale only, right? Like they didn't have any in-house period. And it was butane extracted, all of it. And that was when butane was like the fire. And if you were smoking bubble hash, you were like, so, ugh. And I just think it's crazy to see them, like you said, on the scale that they're at now. And it's nothing against that. It's weird to see some people grow and like really expand into these incredible.
The thing about extraction business is I'm so glad that I didn't really dig headlong into it. Like, all of that shit, people got so fucked, in my opinion. I don't really know. I haven't really heard the stories.
tough.
But if you made hash, you had to continually evolve your game. And every single evolution
Millions.
cost like $200,000. It was like, oh, we're all making shatter now. So we'd all go out and buy a fucking ETS or an Emotech. And now it's like $40,000.
It was like $250,000
And then
minimum.
it was like, oh, now we got to do nitrogen chillers, or we got to fucking we can quadruple or like output our fucking columns to make them the size of fucking whatever, like 500-gallon fucking extraction runs and shit. And they're like, we can do a field in a day. And we can put it on a mobile truck and bring it out. But everybody seemed to buy like a $200,000-$300,000 extraction device for doing butane. And then nobody wants to buy butane shatter, at least in this market or this state. Nobody
Yes.
wants butane hash or shatter hash or that consistency at all.
And the compliance adjustments that you had to do with the fans and exhaust
So
and the
expensive.
modifications.
C1,
And
D1 laboratories. So it was the same shit they put in college universities, is what you had to build in your little grow fucking warehouses. And it was so expensive. And I just look back on that and I'm like, every evolution changed. Although rosin
think-
leveled the playing field because any Joe Blow that could go to Harbor Freight and get a fucking press, a hydraulic press, and fucking some rosin bags on the internet from Bubble Man or whoever the fuck it was, and started squishing shit, not knowing what the fuck they were doing. Before they didn't even heat the plates. Then they started figuring out how to heat the plates, but you could get a rosin set up for hundreds of dollars until they turned into $5,000, now $10,000, now
$8,000.
$15,000, now $20,000 rosin presses, which are now going crazy. But that's kind of my point to that is like all the vac ovens.
but it all goes back to the original solventless shit. I'm just saying you might as well just smoke bubble hash again.
Well, it's funny to me because our lab back there, most days they're washing, they wash the cannabis and then they'll take the extract from there and squish that in the rot to make rosin or
mean,
to
that's nice.
whatever. But it's like it does all start back with literally bubble bags
That's how I feel though.
and
Is
just washing.
it was just good. Sometimes you just got to keep things good.
Well, it's also funny as a breeder because when we breed, there's different types of trikes. So I would start breeding strains that would produce would dump in like a BHO column. People are like, oh, this shit fucking killing the. I'm like, dumping, and then there'd be other strains that like won't wash because now everything has to have like a greasy, almost gritty kind of sandpapery kind of vibe when you like kind of squeeze the nug. You know that will wash well, which will in turn make huge returns on rosin or good returns on rosin, which will make it a commercial type plant. But it's funny because what we wanted has kind of shifted as far as what they want us to breed too for extraction. But point being is, yeah, I look at the extraction business and I'm like, every part of that cost $1 zillion and
Yeah.
it changed every 3 weeks like a fucking silicone chip in fucking, I don't know, like a computer processing world where it's like every 6 weeks there's something new, better, bigger. And all these guys do are milling out some pieces of aluminum and selling these fucking rigs for like $300 grand, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? We should make we should make a column like that. Fuck, Incredibles did.
I remember working with Gidea back at the clinic and him like, it was just like the time of that where I wanted to open a MIP in Arizona. It was limited licenses. It was $250,000 for his machine. All this shit now. And I really, really think it's funny because I always did want a store because we have different, we'll talk about it some other time. But I feel like to actually be able to control how everything was taken care of, like where you could just use solventless from the beginning and know that you could give it to ill people or individuals that had compromised immune systems, but they could actually use your product and you could feel good about it. And it was just a winning situation. I think if you do all these steps properly, it all comes back to the flower. We always say this, but it always just comes back to the raw product.
Yeah.
Is-
It just reminded me of like the evolution of edibles in a way too, because like it all started from like a butter, right? Everybody initially everyone was getting these magic butter machines and trying to figure out how to make weed infused butter, which then you could then make cookies and all kinds of products or whatever the fuck from your butter, right? You're like, I'm getting ripped on my can of butter. And then at some point, the hash companies were just like, "Fuck it, let's throw like shatter BHO in these bitches, like Chiba Chews when they
Yes.
were doing their decadoses and shit. They were literally just like
It was a hell of
melting
a look.
chocolate, drizzling in shatter, fucking
It would fuck you
not
up.
fucking homogenized in any way. So it would be wildly different doses, no matter how the fuck you get them. And then they just literally start making people eat fucking hash shatter or whatever.
Yeah.
But now you think about today, it all basically comes from distillate.
It's all minced,
You know what I mean? It's like
yummy.
the source material is basically now a distillate, which is
Yeah.
usually the shittiest product
The
that
worst.
gets extracted goes to distillate.
It's the hurt.
But through that process, you're refining it in a way that makes it a safe product to use. But still, it's kind of funny to me that like the evolution of an edible was like, all we know how to make is butter. Okay, we figured out if we just throw some hash in there, we fuck people up even worse. And they're like, all right, let's use distillate and try to homogenize and make fucking consistent candy bars that.
Well, most of that weed
can
is
dose
failed
yourself
weed
with.
because legally you can retest. There's like things that you can do to, like you said, get it basically essentially sterilized through extraction.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to. I mean, nobody wants to smoke that.
It's
really.
weird to think about.
Yeah,
know what
you
I
don't
mean?
want
Like,
to.
Typically, the shit you eat in edible form is the worst grade of weed, but it's a science now, or they can, like I say, through distillation and testing, they can make a batch. No matter where the source material kind of comes, they can make a batch become the same every time through kind of working in the lab and breaking it down so that it's the same dose every time. But that was a hell of an evolution. It took almost, I don't know, 10 years before we really saw people taking edibles much more seriously. And I can only imagine the health department back then when they would come into these places and they're like, "You're making what now?" And you're like, yeah, we melt the chocolate and we throw the hash shit in there. And it's just like, well, bam, like.
Chiba Chew's odor was from Lyons, Colorado. It's just funny that you say that because that's like Scott. All of us were up there in this little small hippie town. It's like a bluegrass festival place, And I feel like it was just so sloppy, all of it. Like, and you thought you were doing it extra good though. That's a shameful part. We were like, we're professionals. Looking back, what's some of the things that you like miss the most though, that you wish you saw more of now, that you want to see at the store maybe?
What I miss the most, this is, I think, probably obvious to a lot of people, but at the same time, most people would overlook it. Smoking weed at the shop.
Fuck yeah.
We used to smoke so much weed at the shop. Like,
So nice.
you could go in and sample weed at the shop. It was kind of before we were smart enough to even think about like using fucking sterile wipes on the end of pipes or whatever. We'd have like 1,000,000 one-hitters in there, and then like people come in and be like, "Oh, try a little pull of that." It was like a Baskin Robbins and shit. You'd like walk up to a smorgasbord of weed and be like, take a snap of that Durban. I'll take a little pull of that Bruce Banner, and let me see this strawberry cough over there. And be like, "I'm going with the cough today." And like, it just felt more of this like, I don't know. I liked it more when it felt less like, it felt like we were getting away with something.
Yeah, it's true.
It wasn't corporate at all, and like, in a weird way, I liked it more that people were like scared to park in the parking lot. Like people would like park like 2 blocks down
to park in our
and like
parking
walk
lot.
in and shit and be like, "I'm here to get some of that Banner," and you're like, "It's cool, dude. You have that medical card. Like everything's fine," but they would still be terrified.
You remember the medical card was like this big when they first came out, and you couldn't fold it though. That was the best part.
Made of paper.
Like, you couldn't laminate
Last
it.
a year.
You
Yeah.
couldn't fold it, and the printing like ink would come off. Remember if you like did anything? I guess
Yeah, stupid to say. I don't even know how it is now, but yeah, I think it's still a piece of fucking paper.
it's like purple. They're small. They've come a long way.
Well, yeah. I
It
mean,
used to be a
so
red
much has
card.
kind of come a long way, but at the same time, I don't know. I saw a YouTube video of our old shop. I'm sure it's still up there. The guy's name was Token Daily, and he did a YouTube tour of our shop like 2 weeks after we opened it.
That's amazing.
Like that was back in like 2013. No, I mean 2008 or something, or 7 even. So it was like one of the first shops in all of Denver, Colorado. Really, it was. But I watched the video because in my mind I remember the shop as like, we had this cool little shop. We opened it up and like the weed was so fire. Like I would just sit in there and buy pounds off people and put it in there. And we had the firest weed, and weed was so much better then than it is now. And like I watched that YouTube video, and as he slowly goes over to our counter that has like 4 strains of weed on it, like no pot in it. And he's like pulls out the nugs, and they're like these huge like donkey dick colas that like aren't trimmed for shit. And I'm like, God, that looks so fucking bad. Like I would never sell anything like this in my store today, but back then we were like, everyone they would get mad if you broke apart the cola, like
it's true.
especially in like pound bags and shit. If you were selling pounds back in the day, like people would be like, they would get like stoked. They like root through the bag and pull out like the biggest branch they could find and be like, "Look at this fucking bitch now!" And it's just like so stupid. It's like 14 gram of stock, but everyone's like, "Yeah, look at this thing," and like, but yeah, my point is I remember looking back on it and like. It didn't age well in a way where I was just like, wow, this shop sucks ass. I got everything from Goodwill in here. I had no money. I was like, that was the start. But yeah, it was all Goodwill furniture, all Goodwill bullshit. And like 4 jars of weed that were terrible. And we didn't even fucking know what edibles were barely. We were like, yeah, we used to make our own chocolate chip cookies in the back. I didn't even know this was not legal to make food, and we just sell the cookie dough. We'd freeze it and be like, that's cookie dough, and it has weed in it. And we didn't really know like what the dosage was, but we'd also let people come in, and I'd set up like PlayStations and big screens and like beanbag chairs and like all this shit. So people come in and get high as fuck and not leave and just play video games or sit there all fucking day, and like it felt like a lounge. It was fucking cool. And then even
It's like your basement.
I was saying, yeah, it felt like the basement. That's all we all knew, how to build shops that looked like your basement and made you comfortable to hang out down here. But even in the LA store, I remember that we did briefly, and that was later, but we were allowed to smoke in that store too. There was like no rules pre-ICO or whatever the thing is out there, but it's just medical. But yeah, we had a dab bar there, which is something I didn't ever evolve to in Denver.
Because you're not.
Yeah, we went and bought like 3 or 4 Hitman rigs or some shit, which was a big deal back then.
Yes,
and
Miss
like
Hitman.
had them all lined up and little torches, and like you could buy a black ass thing of shatter for like $5, and we would like torch your nail like red glowing fucking hot because no one knew any better.
Hot dabs are the fire
You just
at
turn
the
it
time.
around and people just sit there and fucking zone the fuck out, black the fuck out. A couple people would fucking pass the fuck out and shit, and like I don't know. It's what we used to do at every cannabis cut back in the day, where like no one understood temp of nail, and like we just knew when it's glowing red, that's when it's good to hit, you know. And like, dude, every dab was hotter than fuck. It's just how we did it.
I feel like these are the things that have come a long way in a positive light.
It's true.
Low
Many
temp,
things have
the
got better.
e-nail, once the e-nail came out, it was like, look at us go.
Even the
Turn that
testing.
shit.
I know we hate testing and I bitch about testing
It
and
is
it's
nice.
a sensitive subject. But then you go to a place like Honduras for a week.
Thank
and
you.
you're like, holy fuck. I come from the land of testing where we test our product to make sure it's not completely poison or fucked up or who knows what the fuck's been sprayed on this or whatever
Aspergillus
the
is
fuck.
a joke down there.
And then you go down to fucking Honduras and you get a bag of fucking Mexican brick swag on the fucking beach and you're like,
From like the
are we doing this right now? Like, are we really doing this? And yeah, I'm not that fucking freaked out, but in a weird way, it's like, God, I never really thought I'd appreciate testing weed.
I've had to use my inhaler like all yeah. And
I just prefer not to think about it. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
I feel like that shit looks like the soil or the cocoa that we grow our weed in. Like, okay, I thought it was funny that we hypothetically may have gotten weed from probably anybody that had it on the fucking island. And I feel like I was definitely on a mission. Jason was on a mission. And so we got it from everywhere. And you know what was the best part?
You gotta shop all the local vendors, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like anyone who's like, sorry to cut you off, but yeah, it was just like, everybody would see us as Americans. Clearly, I'm walking with a hot blonde girl on my arm, and I'm just like walking through, and they're just like, I got that fire gas, son. And you just look at them, and you're like, God damn, dude, I know you have complete swag in your pocket, but like, fuck it. Let me see it. You know? And he's like, hey, let me check it out. And then just out of pure, like, I don't know, like, true fuck it, you're like, all right, here's a tenner. I'll take your fucking dime bag, basically, of pure swag.
Is it?
And
It's like the same
move it on.
prices
Check
in
out the next
AP
guy
here.
down the beach. What you got? Oh, it's the exact same shit as the other guy. And we went all over that island, tip top to bottom to fucking north to south. And we got the same weed all over that island.
Mexico.
Yeah. There's a picture of it coming up, I think. But I just, like I said, my point is in a weird way, I never thought, like, I motherfuck testing left and right every day.
Never again.
And then I go,
Never
like I
again.
say, someplace where I'm like, holy shit, what's on this? Like, it literally looked like there's dirt on it or something. I'm like, was this how? I don't know.
I felt like we were on probation or some shit when we were down there because I think that's the most sober from cannabis I've been.
I don't think we got high from it, to be honest. We may have been
We
smoking
tried.
like ditchweeds, like straight up Iowa ditchweed.
Yeah.
It's basically hemp because it has
was
almost
like-
no THC.
I think hemp would be better.
Probably had a little
here.
CBD, man. It had a little something,
Yeah,
but
it tastes like an incense.
THC level, if you know you're one of those THC buyers, this was rocking it. I loved if we would have smuggled a piece back just to test. We joked about it just to
We
see how
wanted to.
just deadly it is. But I guarantee you that comes in at a hot THC of like 2-3%, 2%.
The humidity is so high there that there was a good amount of split batches. Some were drier than others, granted. But this, remember the one that was like pressed and like straight molded though? It was like actually,
Yeah, that was the old one.
yeah. Let's check these out.
I haven't
Kim
been-
Painter, you should have been there. Oh, Kelly. The kids don't know about stem weight. That's what I think is funny too. When you were touching on this, remember if you shaved weed, people would get pissed. And like now, it's like if you give them loose bud, we're paying these trimmers to like hand trim our weed, and people are like bitching, and we're like, dude, I don't know anybody that's paying for this. We're paying extra, and we're not using machines. And I
For the
don't.
longest time, I used to cut off all the corkscrews on all
Yes.
I had like a NYC diesel plant that I would grow back in the day, and would throw corkscrews in the last couple of weeks, and like I was like, oh, like this is mutating, or is this bad? Like what the fuck? So when I cut it, I'd like shape it into a nugget, so like no one would call me out on my mutated weed or some shit. Like I just didn't know any better
all done.
at the time. I was like, why is this weed throwing corkscrews? But it was truly like a finishing trait of that pheno.
I think that you should go through all these photos with everybody.
Yeah. I have a weird feeling. This is like everybody want to see our vacation photos, and most people are like, God no.
Yeah, they're
But
like,
at the same
"Please."
time, I'll put them up, and
Why-
J-Lo gave them to me, and we go through them quickly. I
Yeah.
suppose.
You don't want to show them? I
I'm
thought they
showing
were
'em. They're
cool.
right there. Show 'em.
No, it's you. Okay, that's my dog though. No, it's not. Excuse me. I wanted this dog so bad. Jason wouldn't let me take it home.
This dog was at a restaurant that just J-Lo fed for 3 days straight. But yeah, he's like a Shar-Pei mutt or something because he had like
That's
flabby skin or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. The thing was infested with every kind of weird island bug, fly, fucking whatever. But he was cool. He was on his last fucking leg, I'll tell you that. He might not be there when we come back, but he was cool fucking beggar. He would show up. J-Lo feeds everything.
That's
Not just dogs. I mean, fish to fucking squirrels, crabs, fucking anything walking around. Jay will throw her dinner at it. Doesn't matter.
I don't know if that's exactly true.
Yeah, the dogs on the island were actually sick because they were like everywhere. And it's a small island, so it's kind of like no one's really worried about losing their dog because it's like we just let them roam. They all had collars and tags, and they seemed very like
Nice.
adapt at traffic and all the rest of it. So like there was just dogs everywhere, and I think they just went home at night. But
That's probably
Yeah.
the strangest thing. I think how many dogs.
yeah, there's a lot of dogs,
Lots of dogs. It's like a chicken or something.
like a chicken.
Oh, I was trying to show the power lines here. Didn't take a good picture.
That's Roatan, right? You didn't tell everybody where you went. Where is this? You gotta tell them.
Well, it's Roatan, Honduras,
There you go.
which I don't know if anybody. I don't know. You talk about it. You just talk about
You talk
it.
about it. I don't know shit. I don't know how much information you want to reveal about it, but yeah, your parents love this place. So their parents, or your J-Lo's parents, brought us here to check it out, and it's south of like Cuba, just a little
So
south
weird.
of like Belize, Central America, but it's an island off the mainland of Honduras. You can see the mainland right there, but what it's really known for is like some of the best diving in the world. So yeah, the reefs are incredible and all that, but
Snorkeling.
snorkeling. But there was all these like dive centric like not shacks, but like bungalow style hotels like all up and down the coast, and all of them had dive boats. And this is a scuba dive place. This was all about scuba diving out here, I feel like, and snorkeling. I mean, there's all the stuff to do, but I think what made this place famous is it's like a legendary dive spot.
You're right. I just feel like don't be discouraged if you're not a scuba diver to go here.
No, it was cool for sure. Like I said, you don't have to. We didn't scuba.
No, we didn't. I feel like the dolphin you guys will see. That's probably my favorite part of this place.
This one's funny because it's got Skydog in there.
Oh, my younger brother's posing.
It was nice. Like the weather was like this crazy, warm, tropical, humid, but not like sticky as much as it was just like this hot, warm blanket that doesn't really bother you as much. It would get hot. There'd be moments of hotness, but you could just dip
The
in
hill.
the pool or whatever. But there was moments of hotness, but really it was like a cool breeze, and I don't know. There was that hurricane that was flirting with coming through that's fucking up Texas right now, I heard. But it was coming through, and it didn't really come close to the island, but it affected the weather, the sea. So the sea kind of, and the wind, and we got a dose of everything. Like a lot of wind, a lot of sun, little rain. But I don't know, it was really cool. Tropical vibes, man. It had like really nice, like warm water. If you ever been to like the Caribbean, it's like Caribbean water, like warm and clear. Here's a picture of it. Super clear.
The water was my favorite part of everything. That you just don't get you don't even get goosebumps. You feel refreshed, but you don't even get the chill.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the best snorkeling I've ever done in my life, to be honest. It was really refreshing just to jump in that shit because God, it was warm.
Oh, look at Love for the Plant. That's so nice. This is the place where we stay at. And it's cool though because my parents are building on this street.
I didn't know if you wanted to say all that, but yeah, basically, this is right down a couple houses from where J-Lo's parents are gonna build an awesome ass house, and yeah, I was like, it's only like a 4-hour flight from Denver. I was like, I'll zip down here all the fucking time and chill out in your guys' house. Hell yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's a really cool little island because, I mean. While that house looks like it's like incredible, and it is. It's like
very simple.
They're affordable lots, and you can build like you can. There's no like
I don't
building
think
permits.
it's cheap.
Well, not necessarily like on the top of the mountain thing, but still, it's like just the way they build. I guess we can talk about that
Different.
a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
I was asking them like, do you have to go through all this building permit stuff
up.
and all that? And they're just like, no, you just come out with a set of plans. And like this house it doesn't look like it, but it was all built with telephone poles. And like telephone pole construction, and then they stucco it, and it's really an interesting way that they build shit. And yeah, it's really cool though. I was like, it's still like a high end type finish on it. It was a very like nice, luxurious little house. Like it was awesome.
But they're like simple. It's weird though because the power goes out there still.
Totally. I mean,
Short period, real short periods of time. It seems like.
the place is awesome. It's just like an Airbnb setup, but I don't actually want to plug it because I don't want no one going to the spot. It's too sick.
Yeah, I know. That's how I feel.
I was
I'm
gonna go to
sorry,
this
guys.
super
I'm
epic
sorry, guys.
spot that we found.
It's a hidden gem.
Maybe you'll tell them later.
Later, when my parents have their house finished, then we'll release the info. I feel like we had the best host ever though at this spot.
Yeah, the Airbnb host was incredible, and everything was really nice there. There's Al Pappy, the man of the hour, Mr. Callahan Electric, and J-Lo's dad there.
Yeah, and Skylar's in the
Skylar in
back.
the back flipping everybody off. You can't actually see it, but I'm gonna blow up huge so everybody can see. Skylar tried to ruin every picture possible on this vacation.
He did.
With middle fingers.
What an
And he's right
asshole.
there with the middle finger.
You can see all the money in that picture though. We didn't know how to pay for anything at first at all.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
embarrassing.
The currency exchange and all that. Yeah, we were pretty fumbling idiots, but this is a cool little spot. A lot of places in the Caribbean like hang dollar bills from their little like bar area. Like
Fire department.
All the different dollar bills from all over the world. So there's like tons of weird currency hanging from there. But yeah, there's El Pappy. He's the man. He's the guy that helped us, like I say, with all the work before we left. So we wore him out, and then he took us on vacation.
Adu and Godan, I hope that you're okay in your family and your house and everything. Very sorry that affected you guys.
Here is what I guess they call the Iron Shore. Your dad was telling me. This
Yeah.
is kind of one of the backside of the island, but it's all coral.
It's like opposite. I just thought it was intriguing because one side so beaching, and then the other side is like
Yeah, it looks like Game of Thrones and shit over here, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. It was a little hotter over here.
it was warm. The sharks, didn't they say that there was like hammerhead somewhere? I wasn't into it. My dog again.
There's J-Lo's dog. She's feeding like day 2.
He loved my Alfredo pasta.
All right, here's the goods. The cannabis relevant content. This is the type of shit that we were smoking. It's probably a blurry picture a little bit, but yeah.
Oh gosh, I
It doesn't
can't.
really do it justice. It almost looks like weed in this bag.
Yeah, that's like such a lie. There's no filter. I don't know how it looks that good.
But this is typically what they were giving us on the beach, and it was swag with seeds in it. I say swag. I don't know what like the common term is for. Fuck, I don't know. Mexican brickweed, like it's, yeah, it's bad.
It was just funny because they said it's not gonna have seeds in it. And I was like, Jason, that means it's gonna have seeds in it.
They're like, yeah, no seeds. I was like, okay, seeds then. There's sales pitching hard to sell this shit. Here's another picture. Maybe this is a little better. This is actually probably a different bag. Yeah, this is a different bag. This one was like more moldy. It definitely was.
Oh, it was so sad.
Yeah, you can kind of see how shitty this is in this picture.
It like looks like it's like tobacco almost.
It's just flat. Every piece is flat, and it's so tropical that if you don't grind it, that you're not even gonna be able to smoke it. We got a little tiny pipe from one of the shops, and it was almost like a futile effort just to even try to get a hit out of it, because unless you can grind it into like a fine powder mist of weird hemp shit.
That's the only time you were down to hit a blunt.
Yeah, I did. I did smoke blunts on this trip because it made this taste fucking. I don't know. It was more psychological. I swear. I was like, yeah, we're smoking this.
We're doing it.
I'm not really feel like I'm getting high at all, but I'll smoke this with you. And I don't know. It is a lot of meh on that. So I just didn't want to obviously take anything to Honduras, and fucking I've seen Locked Up Abroad too much, and I'm like, I am not going to Honduran prison on some shit like that in my luggage on my tropical vacation.
He wouldn't even let me take my bag almost. He was
No.
like, JLo, just don't even bring anything.
Don't bring in anything just because fuck that. Like, I can only imagine how bad a Honduran prison is. And yeah. But I don't know. It was, like I said, it's part of the experience going on the hunt for weed sometimes when you go, like, I feel like when you pull the passport out, it's like the adventure really begins because you're leaving your stash behind truly at like Denver International Airport, and you're like, let's venture out into the wild world out here, and somewhere we're gonna have to find cannabis to get high daily.
My favorite part was when I was like, can I get an eighth? And he was like, an 8-ball? And I was like, they're the same. But I felt like we were
Like
in the
the
wrong.
green one.
It was just hilarious. They can see the whole seat. Disbanded said he sold it to us. I believe it. That was just my little buddy.
Yeah, this is like a little, not an iguana, but what do you call them?
Lizard?
Fucking lizard, I guess.
I don't know what his technical. He was the best IPM effective mother trucker I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
we were watching them eat bugs on the roof. But yeah, the funny thing about this is our host was telling us that during COVID, the island obviously shut down for quite a while, and a lot of the income on the islands due to the dive tourism and everything. So a lot of the locals started eating the iguanas. There used to be shit tons of iguanas all over this island, and the locals would eat them during COVID, and they said they taste like chicken. So they were saying they call them tree chickens. It's like they're like, yeah, they're hard to find now, but there used to be iguanas all over here. I was like, you guys ate all the fucking iguanas? But yeah, I don't know. Would you eat an iguana if I made it like a chicken tender?
Hell no.
Hell no. Is JLo on a horse on the beach?
These horses are really small horses. Mine loved mangoes.
Yeah, we did horseback riding, but it was kind of like a pony ride where I don't know that we were in control of those horses ever for 1 second. They
Not
just
at
sort
all.
of knew what to do and did their thing, and it didn't really matter what you did. Mine kept steering me into every tree branch in the world, trying to like rake tree branches across my face. He's like,
I
get the
look
fuck off
back.
of me.
I
I haven't ridden a horse in like 20, 30 fucking years.
look back at Jesus just like getting smacked by like 7 trees in a row. It's like, are you having fun?
JLo wore like the wrong attire for horseback riding.
Worst.
So I look at her, I'm like, you doing good? Like, having fun? She's like, yeah. I could tell you're not having fun. Like, saddle sores within 5 minutes. Just fucking, yeah. Wearing like swim trunk or swim bikini bottoms or whatever to go ride a horse in. Sounds good
Terrible.
in your mind.
Terrible decision.
It looks good on some like swimsuit edition fucking calendar cover.
No.
And then go try that shit in real life. You'll be fucking frown facing. This guy's named Sharky. He's sick. He lived here forever, and he fucking took us on these horses. But it was cool. He was telling us all kinds of shit about this place.
Sharky was the man. He's a very nice guy.
His little kid is sick. He was like, I guess I'm trying to show you the kid in the middle, I think. This little kid was sick. He's like this young boy. I don't know, more than like 5 or 6 years old. But he'd be out there on these boats, and when they'd pull into the docks, he'd just like run out with the rope and jump out there and grab it. And
It was
I don't
like
know.
stormy.
They were working hard for all the cash. But there's a water taxi, which is sick. You can just grab these water taxis all around the island. They're like $5. They kind of take you anywhere up and down the island. And yeah, that's they got this little man in here just like fucking grinding on like boat captain in it. He was chilling though. He loved it. He was like laying back, fucking
Didn't care.
riding the boat like fucking it was like a toy. But yeah, it was cool. This little dude was sick though. We saw him a lot all weekend, really.
He was a working man.
That's leaving. But
Sad.
yeah, that's kind of showing the reefs from the airplane. That was pretty sick. I highly recommend it. It's not like a crazy It's not like a crazy like super fucking Cayman Island, Turk and Caicos, whatever. Like, no. It's cool. It's a short plane ride. That's why I was like, dude, you can zip down here like 4 hours.
It's really cool. I feel like it's not what people expect, I think, most times when they hear Honduras or something like that. It's a nice environment, but I think it's so island chill. It's really not developed yet. It's weird. Once you leave the resorts, I think it's such a grounding experience.
Yeah, there's some poor like poverty going on there for sure on that island.
Sad.
It's a mix of both. There's some 5-star resorts peppered in with some like ghetto wooden area, like shack area type things. But I don't know. That whole island's going under and has gone under like a transformation over the last like 10 to 15 years, where more money's coming into there, putting more resources into like power grids and runways and airports and hospitals and like making it better by a lot of sense. But I'm sure a lot of them also feel like they might be getting gentrified or losing their land or losing their island. So I don't know. It's an interesting vibe there. Like I say,
That's what
something like Jamaica might be. It's like when you step off the resort, you're kind of like, whoa, this is a different kind of place. So like where we just were 5, 10, 15 minutes ago. But at the same time, everybody was so happy.
Yeah.
Everybody was so waving. All the children were everyone was so cool.
West End's like
It's like so everybody was so cool and so eager to help, and like I don't know. I really liked the people. I never truly
Very
felt
nice.
like really scared or concerned or anything like that at all. It was just like it was a fun vibe. Like it was a fun vibe. That place is chill, and I
Is
don't
this
know.
slow time of year we found out, which is actually good to know because it was like pretty quiet though. You're like not waiting in lines, but there's still like action. There's still, I don't know, it's just different than when we go to like some of the other oceans.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. Like Denver.
You have a couple of videos. You can describe what's happening here.
Oh, God. I just, oh, damn it. I sent the worst videos. I wish I sent other ones. This dolphin. Well, no, you got to talk about it. You'll explain this much better than I will. This, like, space.
So we went to this place in Honduras that's
Anthony's Key?
Anthony's Key, which is in Roatan, but it's like the Honduras Marine like sanctuary and reserve, and they have this area where they have dolphins that come into their like cove and have learned over the last 50 years to like birth their babies and to like interact with all the scuba divers and all the people there. And essentially they have, it's kind of hard to describe. They have like pens, like caged areas that they come into, but it's in the open ocean. So it's like, this is, I'm sure there's people are like Blackfish, SeaWorld, like what the fuck is this kind of shit. But these dolphins are actually free to come and go
Yes.
like as they want, like through these pens or whatever. And a lot of them come and been birthed here and stayed, and they've trained some of them. But at any point, these dolphins can go. So it isn't like the SeaWorld type fucking swimming pool bullshit. But a lot of them have just chosen to stay. And
They get a lot of
There's
fish.
probably some argument against that because they've learned to be hand fed as opposed to going out catching in the wild, some of them. But regardless, it was an incredible experience to go do this and just get up close to some of these dolphins and like see them and watch them fucking like interact with some people. And they actually have dives here where you can go out like in the open ocean, and these dolphins will follow you. Like they'll leave the pen, they'll leave their cage, they'll go out the holes, and they'll follow you out to your dive site, and then like circle you as you dive and go out and like do open ocean dives with dolphins that are basically like your friends. And they just know to come chill with you and then follow the boat back. And then it's almost like dogs going in their doghouse. Like they come and go all the time with
They
it.
do, yeah.
But yeah.
I think that's the only way we would do something like this, honestly, because it's I don't know. It's just, but it's such a beautiful, it is such a beautiful.
He'd come over and the dude would just give him fish out of his little bucket. And he, like I said, he would just fucking... He's like so stoked to do it. Obviously, they've worked with these animals for a while and kind of got them to the point where they're super tamed out like that. But it was pretty wild to see these guys come up.
So that was him just letting
At
me
one
know
point,
that
yeah,
he
he
was-
was getting the dolphin to make.
So technically, the whistle it just means.
So yeah, he's getting the dolphin and they make all these like dolphin sounds.
I wonder if I can send it.
It was crazy. These things are so loud, dude. It's like he's blowhole like screaming, like it's fucking nuts. But I don't know. I don't find the biggest fucking fish I ever been around. That thing is fucking huge.
Go for another rock down.
Yeah, here's your last little dolphin clip.
Yeah, this
So yeah, he got him doing sounds and shit, and I don't know. The dolphin shit was sick. Like I said, it was sick just because they're like in the ocean. You just walk in the ocean with these dudes, and they're fucking like, see dolphin shit. It's like what?
When we held him,
Yeah, they
He
come
was-
right up.
he was like posing so confidently though. Like there was definitely moments when Jason says he was like a dog. There was definitely moments he was just so proud of himself that he seemed so happy. It was, I don't know, he was just adorable. They had a younger one, they had a baby, and I wish I sent that video too. Is I'm definitely gonna have to post these on my gram though. Is they just, there was some beautiful little dolphin action going on.
Like I say, the whole place as you go up and down the coast of that place is just like adventure activities, zip lines to fucking horses to dives to snorkels to, or just fucking have crazy cocktails and lay on the beach or whatever. It was pretty cool. The only downside, I gotta be honest, is there's some bugs there.
Damn
It's tropical
bugs.
island, fucking jungle rainforest. Bugs come out at night and shit, and I
Holy
got about
shit.
9,000 weird bug bites all over my body. I didn't realize I had till we came home, and I'm all itchy everywhere.
It's so misleading. It's like you're so content with the weather and climate there that you can't feel anything but perfection.
The joy overcomes like being not alive. You're just like, that's cool.
And then we got home.
Look how pretty it is. Doesn't matter. I'm getting just destroyed by insects.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The stars, too, though. I will say, one night I stayed up pretty late and the sky was like shifting. Like Jason said, the weather was like so, it'd be really windy and then still, I'm not sure. But the sky opened up and there was just shooting star after shooting star after shooting star. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's cool on islands where there's not a lot of light pollution, where the sky can like really explode at night.
But the cockroaches, it's a real deal. I did want to just bring my paint sprayer and get wild, but I knew that's not the right impression.
A lady who kills bugs for a living, amongst many other things. But yeah, it's just like, where's my paint sprayer? Where's my paint sprayer? I'm gonna fucking
Oh, I was just like, we
I'm
can
gonna
make
spray
this
this
so nice.
rainforest. Jayla wants to spray the rainforest with fucking God only knows what.
Listen, it would all be safe.
But yeah, and like I say, the downside or the cannabis was a bit of a downside or a bummer, but at the
Huge.
same time, like I already knew that going in. I already knew what to expect, and I'm also like, when traveling and experiencing new places and like doing cool, fun shit, I don't find that I need to be like smoking weed constantly or like, I need to go to. It's like, no, it's nice to end the day with a little spliff or start one with a spliff or go out and do something fun and maybe catch one somewhere along the way. But like, nah, I didn't like miss weed at all. But at the same time, I did think about like the weed we had was so fucking bad that I was like, Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I wish we had a little bit of good weed. It's like
mixed with the shitty weed.
I mean,
Like just like one nug.
we just need to connect. I'm sure there's someone in Honduras or in Roatan that is growing whatever. I just need to bring seeds next time, and we'll just load up seeds to everybody. Be like, next time we come back, have this fucking weed instead of the weed you guys currently have.
That would be a great situation. I feel like that's gonna be the weird part to see the world evolve with cannabis. Like where you just travel anywhere and you're like, give me my goods.
I mean, that's kind of the cool thing about going to Europe is, if you make it to like Amsterdam and probably pretty soon Germany, because the way they've just legalized, but if you make it to like Amsterdam and whatnot after traveling around for a while, like maybe days, and then you like land in there and you go to a good shop and it's like, holy shit, you have like Skittles and fucking whatever, Cali Mist or Blue Dream or some shit. It's just like, that's surprising to me. Or not even necessarily those older ones, but they had more modern shit. A lot of it's
Yeah.
California imported, to be honest. But still, I was just like, fuck yeah, I want a jar of real Skittles over here. And like, it hits the spot when you are traveling long and far.
The first time I ever got weed in Roatan was it looked the same, and then we found somebody that just whatever Oregon had a magical. But I remember it was so expensive, and I guess it was definitely worth it at the time. But I remember like cherishing that eighth.
That's what I talk about is, to me, traveling like that is part of the adventure. Like I say, when the passport comes out, then it's like, so does the true like strain hunter or weed hunter in me. I'm just like, yeah, I will find it along the way. Like, I will find it. And sometimes it leads to some awkward interactions, and other times I get completely ripped off, and other times I find stupid fire. I wouldn't say this is like an easy thing, but it's part of the adventure.
I like that attitude.
This time we definitely failed,
Yeah.
but I'm not so sure that it was winnable.
I don't think so.
It's the
I think we
unwinnable
put our
situation.
best foot forward on that one. I think everybody knew us by the time we left. I was like, please just, I don't know. Like you said, it sucks because it's the perfect climate. I mean, the whole time you're like fantasizing about like, if I could only be the person here. But then you're like,
I could have like a beachside dispensary right here with my feet in the sand.
Yes.
You're like, I sell eights by the beach.
We never make it. These, do you have no more pictures?
No, I have no more.
Dang it. Well,
I have nothing more for you.
do you have anything else you would like to say?
Not off the top of my head. I'm trying to think of anything
Store?
that I want to talk shit about.
Of course. I'm sure there's
There's
something.
always something
I'm
that
sure
I'm fucking
there's something.
furious about. No, it's hard to. Coming off of a relaxing vacation, I'm really in chill mode.
Well,
I feel very chill right now. Very happy. Happy birthday to you. I say this week's all about you. What do you want to talk about? It's your birthday.
I feel like I need some lip gloss. Sorry, guys.
Glossing up.
Gloss. I feel a little dry, like you said. That's the only thing about coming back here. I was like, anyways, I think it would be a hard struggle to cure weed there. But some moments I'm like, it would be so nice if we had a little bit of that humidity here. Well, I think that we should just wrap it up. What do you guys think?
I think everybody needs to wish J-Lo happy birthday on the way out the door.
Dang. Love for the plant. I will tell you. Well, how could you answer it shortly of why my parents would? Because they've talked to you about it. There's a lot of things is they want to help with building a hospital and some of these other things there, but I don't know. It's like
Your parents brought 5 suitcases full of basically donations to people from everything from diapers to medical supplies to all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, I think they're trying to set up some roots there and give back.
El Papi does a lot of electrical, and they have just exposed power lines and kind of outdated stuff.
Yeah. They
Stuff.
definitely just bring power lines through buildings and tie them to trees and weird shit you've never really seen before. But yeah, I don't know. it's kind of typical for Central America. I feel like some of the electrical there gets a little shady.
It does. I feel like, yes. So I think that's definitely part of it. I would say so. The beach. You guys need to check it out, though.
You need to check it out.
You just need to check it out. All right. Thank you so freaking much, and Future Cannabis Project, for listening tonight, because I will get back consistent to Mondays at 7:10. I will be on time next Monday, okay? He doesn't believe it. Thank you, Jason, so much for coming on tonight and talking about all of these good things.
Anytime you want to go over vacation photos, I'm here for you. I don't know if people like this shit or not, but yeah, that was a vacation that we just took. But we work fucking hard. You work fucking hard, so you deserve the break.
We were grinding. But now we got to clean up all the shit that happens when you go on vacation, when you're a grower.
No, it's your birthday week, so we'll get to that shit a little bit later.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right, everybody. I hope you have a beautiful week. Thank you so much. I'm going back through the chat right now. I'm sorry if I missed anything tonight. I will get you back in the comments. All right. Peace and love, squad.